It is said that a disciple and his teacher was going down the road, and the disciple asked the teacher, or his Lord, says, "Teach me, Lord, the meditations to which I must devote myself in order to let my mind enter into this paradise." And this great teacher, our master, said that there are 4 great meditations. So the first is the meditation of love, in which you must so adjust your heart that you long for the welfare of all beings, including the happiness of your enemies. You think that's good? The first is the meditation of love, in which you must so adjust your heart that you long for the welfare of all beings, including the happiness of your enemies. The second meditation is the meditation of pity, in which you think of all beings in distress, vividly representing in your imagination their sorrows and anxieties, so as to arouse a deep compassion for them deep in your soul. Otherwise, when you would be in meditation, and if it's someone in which you are in sympathy, or someone in which you would like to comfort and pity them, you would arouse a deep compassion within yourself for that particular individual or that particular thing. There's great power in surrounding anything about which you are meditating, upon which you are meditating. Surround it with a lot of love. Love is the greatest power in prayer and meditation. The third meditation is the meditation of joy, in which you think of the prosperity of others and you rejoice with their rejoicings. I know you are like I am in that respect. I like to see people get things that causes them to be joyful, and I like to join in with them in that joy, regardless of what it is. A minister friend and I, he and I having a very fine time. This Baptist minister, 3 Baptist churches in our town, and a grocery store bought out the parsonage of the Mount Zion Baptist Church, and so he bought a parsonage right beside mine. And so we are having a good time bantering each other as to, I'm going to make my parsonage look the best and he's going to make his look the best. And so I think I got him a little bit, because he's not quite finished with his, neither have we started, but I'm trying to let him get his finished first, you know. I don't know whether that's sneaky or not, you know. But I'm trying to let him get his finished first, so if he hasn't, I'm going to see if my board won't let me put a little extra, you know. After his is all finished, then I'm going to put on a little extra, and then I'm going to say, I told you, you know. But we are having a wonderful time. Otherwise, we are enjoying each other, you know, as he get and I get. Well, I'm enjoying seeing his parsonage fixed, and also he's enjoying seeing me. And we have a garden also, you know, and And he threatens he's going to raise some pumpkins, you know. And those pumpkins are going to take his whole backyard. And he says as fast as the pumpkin grows so big, he's going to lift them up over the fence and put them over in my yard. Because he doesn't like pumpkin. But we are having a joyous time together. And I think that's the way we should do. We should be joyous over the other fellow's joy. I think that's very fine. The fourth meditation is the meditation of serenity. Is the meditation of serenity, in which you rise above love and hate, tyranny and oppression, wealth and want, and regard your own life with impartial calmness and perfect tranquility. Would you like for me to read that again? I saw somebody writing that down. The fourth meditation is the meditation of serenity, in which you rise above love and hate, tyranny and oppression, wealth and want, and regard, I think this is the what do you call it, the punchline, and regard your own life with impartial calmness and perfect tranquility. Otherwise, when we regard our own life impartially, not me and mine, but you are impartial about that, you want others too included in that thing there. You lift yourself way up above that. Those are the four meditations. And it is also said that 5 minutes a day in meditation is more valuable than an hour once a week. I like that. 5 minutes a day is more valuable than an hour once a week. See, you're more consistent there. Yeah, that's what I thought I was saying the wrong thing. It kind of backfired on me there. I thought I had my thinking wrong. But that's what it is. I'd like to read this little thing. I have a little jotted down here. I like this little verse. I know all of you have heard it and know it from Browning. About earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush is afire with God. But only he who sees takes off his shoes. Earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush is afire with God. But only he who sees takes off his shoes. I think that's wonderful, you know. It always gives me a lift when I can think of that. That the whole universe, which you and I are a part, God all around us. But you can't see him unless you look for it. And when you know that in everything that you touch, why, God is in that thing, the very life of God. And realizing that, you rather, think in terms of you hurt nothing because God is in that, and where God is, it's holy ground, and you feel like taking off your shoes, as God told Moses when he approached the burning bush. That was not the only burning bush back there in Moses' time. Every flower and every bush is afire with God now. But he that has eyes to see will take off his shoes. And I think that's what you and I are trying to do, is to get so close to God, and he will impart his wisdom and his knowledge so much to us that we will see God in everything that with which we come in contact. Recently, I've been very interested in different things. And some of the meditations in the little book, my conversation with the little insect. He has God in him. You can look at him and see him working, and you wonder about him and why he does such and such a thing. But back of it all, the intelligence of God is working in that individual. we want to consider for our meditation or talk, whatever you want to call it, this afternoon. It's one of my favorites, and it always gives me a lift when I'm down. You say, oh, do you get down? Oh, yeah. And I would like to say something about it as I go along. It's the 139th Psalms, of which all of you are acquainted. This is a prayer, remember. And I think it could be a meditation. Because all of the things, as the psalmist here sums them up, why he is really doing a meditation. And I think it's the same process by which you and I would meditate. We would get real quiet deep within ourselves. And we would realize that God is everywhere. And that God is filling every nook and every cranny of the whole universe. And that you are completely surrounded by His presence. And you would be aware, it seems to me, of His all-seeing eye and His searching eye. And then you would say, like the psalmist, O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Isn't that wonderful when you think about it? That God is so mindful of you and of me and of all of His creatures that He searches each and every one of us and knows us and knows us. I think that's a thing that drives some people to desperation because they think that God doesn't know. They believe that God doesn't care. But God does care, and He knows. Thou knowest when I sit down and when I rise up. One version says, my down-sittings and mine uprisings. Isn't that something? That when you and I seem to be down or up, He knows it. He knows it. And if He knows it, He cares about it. And don't ever think that you can get into any condition, that you could go any place, that He would not know it. Thou discernest my thoughts from afar. From afar, before you think them, He discerns them. Of all of us, what a marvelous being our God is. Before, just take us in this room here, before we think a thought, why, God knows it. And thou searchest out my path and my lying down. One says, otherwise, He plans my path. The other one says, He compasses my path. Otherwise, He has laid out my path. Isn't that wonderful? That thing, it was revealed to me very forcibly a few years ago, I would say, maybe 15 years ago, that God had planned my path. He had planned my path, the path that I should go, because I never was satisfied until I began to get in my path. I was telling someone here how many jobs I had and would just quit them for no reason at all. Just wouldn't keep it. because it didn't satisfy something deep down within me. But that time when I was in Frankfort, Indiana, and as I lay on my couch, it was just about this time in the afternoon. There was no one there. I was working in Frankfort. My family was living in Kokomo, Indiana. Some people always laugh when I say Kokomo. Well, I've lived in Kokomo, and I've lived in Kalamazoo, and now if I can live in Kankakee or Keokuk, well, I'll be all right. But I was living there, and that afternoon I was laying on my bed in meditation. And about between awake and being asleep, I was carried out of myself and seemed like I was lifted up up in the air about that high. Because God had been, I would say, was causing me to be very much concerned about going into the ministry. I never will forget that experience, how that it seemed like the whole room was lighted up. And I don't know how long I stayed up there, figuratively speaking, but I did hear myself saying, "Yes, Lord, I will go." And when I was, in so many words, let down again, I found myself on the sofa. There were tears streaming out of my eyes of joy, because I knew then that I was going back to my church the next Sunday morning and tell them the news. And when I decided that, why, there was a spiritual click, for I knew that I had fallen into the place where He wanted me. And then when I was called into the ministry, that confirmed that. And I've never regretted not one day, not 1 hour that I've spent in the ministry, because it has been something that I wanted to do. It was my path. He laid out this path for me at this particular time. Even before word is on my tongue, O Lord, Thou knowest it altogether. Thou dost beset me behind and before, and layest Thy hand upon me. That's the benediction. He put His hands upon me and told me to go, and I'll go with you. And He has kept that promise. He has kept it. Because anybody that could send two a boy and a girl at that time, three of them. To graduate at that time on $5 a week, why, God must plan out, He must have laid it out. When you follow God's plan, things will happen, but He never leaves you. Because I tried to follow His plan, why, He made a way for me on $5 a week there in Noblesville, Indiana. I had a boy and a girl to graduate from the Noblesville High School. And my kids looked just as good as any of the rest of them when they got up on the stage that night graduating. Because God had touched the heart of a Presbyterian minister there, and this Presbyterian minister had a rich friend that did things, secretly. And he sent word by this Presbyterian minister, say, "You tell Mr. Warfield to send his 2 kids down to the Craycraft department store and outfit his kids from head to foot and from skin out. New shoes, everything that they need for graduation." And I sent Bernie Jr. And Helen, my youngest daughter, down there. And when they got up on that stage, why, that's what God will do if you trust Him. You see, that's what I tell young ministers. Step out there on it. You don't see the salary, you don't see this, and you don't see that, but step out there and God will meet you. He's met me so many times, it's really wonderful how He will meet you. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain unto it. And this is something, I wish that everybody could get it really deep down within their very being. Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? Where can you go? Where can you go from His Spirit? And where can you go that He would not be there? If I ascend into heaven, thou art there. And if I make my bed in hell, lo, thou art there. You know, I like that. And I believe it. I don't think that there's a place where I could fall. I don't think that I could sink so low that out of the hell of any life, I think He would be right there. All I would have to do would be to recognize Him and say, Lord, my God. And He would be there. And I've told this to so many that have come to me in distress. When there was literally, you might say, hell in homes. People come to me and say, well, Rev, so-and-so and so-and-so, I just can't stay there. I say, well, have you prayed? Oh, God doesn't hear me. It's too much hell going on in my home. It's too much confusion going on in my home. I say, well, wait a minute. And I would get out this psalm and I would read it to them. I say, in all that hell that is going on in your home, this God that I'm talking about is there. And if you will let Him, He will go into that hell with you and deliver you from that hell. That's the kind of a God He is. And I don't believe that the devil can outdo God. I told my people not the other Sunday morning, if I thought the devil could outdo God, I would close up my Bible this morning and I said I'd walk on out of that door. Because any God that can do all this that I know that He can do, why, He can deliver my soul from hell. He can deliver your soul. He can deliver the souls of the world from hell. Because He can be right in there and hell has no power over Him. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there thy hand shall lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I said, let only darkness cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to thee, for God sees. In the darkness of our own lives, when we do think sometimes that God doesn't see and it doesn't hear, why, it doesn't make any difference when a thing happens, whether it happens in the night or happens in the day, or happens in your darkness or happens in your light. God sees in the dark as well as the light. And there is nothing hid from Him. Even the darkness is not dark to thee. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light with thee. For thou didst form my inward parts, and thou didst knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise thee, for thou art fearful and wonderful are thy works, and thou knowest me right well. And my frame was not hidden from thee when I was being made in secret, intricately wrought in the depths of the earth. And thy eyes beheld my unformed substance, And in thy book were written every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. I was thinking about that one time, and I tried to picture in my mind, in meditating over that particular verse, because God knows and he sees, and because he has a pattern for my life and he has a pattern for all lives, even in the making of me, in the forming of my very being to come and to live in this world and on this earth plane, why, he knows what it's going to take for me to become what he has destined me to become. Everybody doesn't need the same thing. Everybody doesn't need to learn the same lesson. So, in making up this formula, God puts a little bit of, maybe a little joy, a little sorrow, a little love, a little enviousness, see? It's mixing it all up there. A little suffering. And he mixes it all up because he knows what he wants you to become. It's just like you would mix up bread. You knew what you want. You knew what kind of bread you want. You put certain ingredients in. And to me, God has put little things in your life. And he has put you on earth in order that you might learn that lesson here. I think very often I was put in the race that I am because God wanted to learn me something. And I'm grateful for it. And I hope I won't have to learn it over again. I'm trying to be a good student. I want to make 100 on it. But I might fail a little bit. But that's the thing I know now, that through all of it, as I look back over my life, he compasses my path. He laid out my path. Because I ask him sometime when things I don't understand, I said, Lord, what do you want me to do about this? And he tells me, that's your path. That is in your path. And then I don't ask him to move it. All right, Lord, if you'll give me your grace and enough love to go on through it, I will. Isn't it wonderful how God, even before you were formed, he began to put the ingredients in there because he knows what it's going to take for you to experience, and the experience that you need to make you or cause you to become what he wants you to become. How precious to me are thy thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. If I count them, they are more than the sand. God's thoughts about us are as numberless as the sands of the sea. You didn't think he cared that much, did you? But he does. Thinking about you and I all the time, and he can think so fast, why, the thoughts are countless. And when I awake, I am still with thee. Whether you wake up on this side or on the other side, you're still with him. How marvelous. How marvelous. Listen now. There's a turn right here in this meditation, and I think all of us have experienced it. Have you been meditating how beautiful this whole psalm is up to now? Now, you watch these thoughts coming in, human thoughts coming in. Oh, that thou wouldst slay the wicked, O God. Listen here, after all of this, and that men of blood would depart from me, men who maliciously defy thee and who lift themselves up against thee for evil. Do I not hate them that hate thee, O Lord? What a thought coming in your meditation, in this meditation. Have you ever had thoughts to come through in your meditation, And you wonder why? And do I not loathe them that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred, and I count them my enemies. Here he is. God, I'm going to hate them because they hate you. Why, God didn't need him to hate anybody for him. God, they are against you, and because they're against you, I'm going to be against them. Slay them, cut them down. But you see, he forgot where he was, and in a way he repents. And he says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Isn't that wonderful? Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Oh, how beautiful that is. How beautiful. How beautiful that is. Shall we pray? O Lord, thou hast searched us and known us. And we ask that we may be more concerned about thy presence around us and within us at all times. Let us know continually that you never leave us, that you're always there. Whether we ascend up into the heavens or whether we find ourselves in the depths of hell, we know that thou art there. And we thank you for your greatness. And our souls praise your name at this time and say with the song that we've sung here, how great thou art. Amen.